what is a Rjdyosn? Well, basically, it's a creature that actually was specifically to it, the name Rjdyosn is specifically named from a pagan tribe in Scotland, but I'm unsure of how to really. It doesn't write well in English, but I have this on the computer. I'm trying to take a totally different alphabet, and I'm trying to say, okay, in this language, in this alphabet, what English equivalent is there for this letter and this, and it's not really a good match, and so it doesn't really write well in English, but I've done the best I could writing it. But anyway, I don't know exactly how many tribes knew about this, but I knew there were probably more than one that knew of this, that called it by the name Rjdyosn. There may have been a lot more that knew it by a different name. It's quite a unique creature. I've not ever really heard anything like this before. Where I heard of it, actually, let's back up a bit, just in case you don't know, just in case you haven't looked at other videos. This is ancient paganism that we're talking about. It's not modern paganism. So basically the difference is modern paganism only believes it exists in the spirit realm. Ancient paganism believes it can exist also in the physical realm. And it's basically bringing back a lot of that knowledge and wisdom that died out with our ancestors. This particular story is something I'm doing to try and honor our ancestors, the ones that told me this so long ago. I'm trying to bring it back in honor of them, so it is a bit bittersweet. But I feel like, maybe if I am the only one that remembers, then it's, at least now it's out there. The tale is out there, for others to watch and look at, and maybe it doesn't have to be forgotten anymore. It's sad because the way that it died out is with the witch hunts. It just died out with them, and it was lost. A lot of things was lost. So anyway, going back to what a Rjdyosn is and what it does and that sort of thing. So, like I said, I found this out, had to find this, remember this rather, through one of my past lives. It was that long ago. It was that long ago that this creature was known still and not forgotten. It was, I'd say, late 1700s to early 1800s is when I last heard people speak of this creature, and it was something that they all knew. They all, at least all the pagans, still knew. So a Rjdyosn is said to only exist during extremely grim times when there's a lot of evil that is existing, and their job basically is they're a protector, and their job is to hunt and eat the evil things, usually that they're focused on the main threat. So they'll focus on whatever the main source is. Let's be honest, what is the main threat to the forest, to Mother Nature? Typically it's humans. So typically that is their main source of prey. However, they're said to never actually harm anything innocent, whether it be human or not. If you're pure of heart. The Rjdyosn is meant to be able to see that, and so even if you're human but you're pure of heart, they will leave you be. They've got quite a ravenous hunger though. So you know, it's not just like they attack something and take it to its den and then feed off of it for a while. What happens is they'll only eat fresh, really fresh prey usually, and so they'll gorge on something as much as they can until it starts a couple days later, it's no longer fresh. Only 2 or 3 days later and they're already out trying to find the next, prey. So whilst they couldn't possibly annihilate evil on their own, Rjdyosns paired up with other protectors that also are hunting this evil. Eventually it gets to the point where that starts to die off a bit. Rjdyosns are said to only be born, like I said, in time of great evil. So when there's peace, when there's an era of peace, they're actually said to not exist at all. They just kind of die off. They're only present in times of very grim, when there's a lot of evil existing. So they're said to be born out of any womb because of this. So basically, if you're something that only exists, during certain periods of history, all the times of peace, you don't exist, then how does your species get, reintroduced if you all die out? Well, basically, they're said to be reborn out of any womb. So basically, non-exist for a while, era of peace, all of a sudden Rjdyosns start being born. They're being born out of just regular species. It doesn't matter whether it's an animal or whether it's human. They can be born out of either, but they're going to look a little different than their parents. Usually they'll have unnaturally sharp, razor sharp teeth, and they'll be unnaturally strong. But a lot of times they have other things that just look odd and different about it that does not look like the parents. And typically, even though that their parents can influence what they look like to some extent, it's said that what they look like mostly just kind of goes off of what their soul is, what the energy of their soul is. And so a lot of times you'll see where they look like these mutt-like creatures. They look like hybridized creatures, like it could be a wolf with dragon wings, or something, or horns, or something on an animal that doesn't normally have horns, or just something that would have to, whatever it is that they have that might not resemble the parents, whatever it is that they have that's extra like that, has to be derived from their own soul, has to be of their own. Whatever their soul is, that is what their body resembles. So if their soul is part wolf and part dragon, then they're going to look like a wolf dragon thing, and that's going to come before, usually that's going to come before whatever their parents are. However, it's not ruled out that they don't inherit a little bit of something, or they can't, and sometimes they can inherit a little bit of something. So basically they can have Rjdyosn parents as long as they're not, the very first ones, but they don't have to. And I wonder if that's part of why this isn't such a, like you think about a dragon, that's so global, everyone has heard of it. I wonder if that's why not many people have heard of this one, is because if you have an era of peace, they could not exist for like 600 years. I mean, they could just not, that long of not existing, and all of a sudden they pop up again. It'd be very easy for it to kind of get lost in history, even during normal times that didn't involve, you know, your entire race getting slaughtered by Abrahamics. You know, I just wonder if that's why it's not so globally talked about, and why it's not. And again, there might be a different word for it that I'm unaware of, but yeah. So they hunt and kill evil things. That's basically their job. That's what they eat. That's what they do. You know, that's their really their only purpose. And so they're kind of like these warrior beings. They're these warrior / protector beasts, and they don't really function well in times of peace, because that's like their whole purpose of existence, right? So it makes sense. I will say this, that it said that if you do start seeing Rjdyosns, if you start seeing them being born, it's a sign of, you know, that already bad situation is going to unfortunately start getting a lot worse. The good side is that they are protectors and they're there to help with that. That's the whole reason why they're born. But yeah, so is there a real good way to tell by the way they look what they are? Not really. I mean, not unnaturally sharp teeth and unnaturally strong are the only two things that they for sure have in common with the way they look. So you almost have to go by their habits and their mannerisms and their, you know, what their prey is, and when they're existing. Because if you know it to be a time of peace and they're existing, then it can't be a Rjdyosn. You know, so it's kind of difficult to identify, you know, because they can take so many different forms, depending on said individual. So anyway, I wish that I knew how many people still know about this, but there's really no way to tell. But there you go. If you didn't know before, now you know what a Rjdyosn is.